I know. I couldn't do it. I don't have the power of the beard. It every time I drank something, like it would all get caught in here. Like you always hear that joke, like, "Oh man, that's so cool because now you can like lick at your mustache or whatever, and you get some snacks." That was not as fun as people made it sound. Anyway, video Pokemon. Yeah.
See, told you, it's not a Yu-Gi-Oh channel, because this is a Pokemon video. So as many of you know, Pokemon Sword and Shield is getting an expansion pack. I want to take a look at that, and also take a look at the game as a whole. Let's get into this. I have a bit to say on this. First, I think it confirms a theory a lot of us had about the release schedule preventing them from having the time to program in every Pokemon. If that is indeed the case, I'm glad they're patching them in later. Wait, before any of you say it, because I know someone will, no, you don't have to buy the expansions to play the new Pokemon. You can transfer in the ones releasing with the patch from Pokemon Home. Now, you will have to pay for that, but if it's like Pokemon Bank, it's going to be about $5 for the year. That's a lot better than $30. Of course, that's assuming it's priced similarly. But anyway, I like that Pokemon is going to be dropping expansions instead of slightly tweaking the story and giving us a sequel game. Because, and this is freaking crazy to say, I know, giving us expansions is a lot more consumer friendly than giving us new games with about an hour of added content tacked onto the one we just played. Would you rather pay a whole $60 for what is basically the Battle Island or whatever post-game add-on, or pay $30? It's still too expensive in my opinion, but it's better. Plus, from the looks of it, we're not only getting more of the old Pokemon back, we're getting more Galarian forms. I really like the regional forms of Pokemon. On the surface, sure, it's just fan service and a bit of world building, but at the competitive level, it's rebalancing older mons to try and make them viable. Does it always work? Nope! But usually the regional forms are at least a little better than their originals. Same goes for new evolutions. There is one thing I'm not happy about with the expansions though. They're bringing frickin' legends back, specifically Landorus. Landorus is one of those Pokemon. He's not overpowered by any stretch, he can't get around, intimidate, or burn, and you can sneeze on him with an ice attack and kill him, but his stats are spread in just the right way, in just the right areas to be one of the best at what he does, and his move pool is loaded with everything necessary to be an amazing VGC physical sweeper. There is a reason he's been a staple every metagame he's been in since release. The thing I hate about this is they're setting up for Chalk. Chalk is Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss, Landorus, and Kangaskhan. It's gone through a couple variations here and there depending on the meta, but generally the idea remains the same. It's a set of 5 mons that can pretty much handle the entire game by themselves and fight against any team. Your 6th slot is reserved for fighting something weird or maybe a Tapu you hadn't fit in prior. So what's wrong with this? I mean, in all honesty, absolutely nothing. Chalk is kinda like Malzahar mid in League. Follow me here. Malzahar is a super basic champion to play. Spread your space aids and auto push the lane. When somebody steps up, you ult them. Simple and easy. Can fit into just about any team comp and is at least decent in lower and higher levels of play. That's what Chalk is. It's the simple, basic, easy to play Pokemon team that does well at higher and lower levels and teaches newer players how to play the game. In short, it's going to be everywhere. And I want to make clear, this is a purely personal dislike. I don't enjoy seeing the same team time and time again when I'm playing at home. I'll get into more later, but that's something I've been enjoying about Gen 8 so far, the variety in teams. And I'm well aware that in any competitive game there will be a top tier meta that rises up and conquers all, but damn man, with Pokemon it's been at least 3 or 4 of the same super reliable pokes for like 6 years now. Of course, given the only 2 members of Chalk that I've seen confirmed are Landorus and Cresselia and the lack of Mega Evolution, I could be making a big fuss over nothing. Oh yeah, Cresselia was in the diagram of Legends coming back too. I'll have to put up with that thing again. I despise this. The Pokemon games have been making it easier and easier to breed out competitive teams. Heck, this time around, unless you want a hidden ability, just catch them on and feed it mints and vitamins and then hyper train it to make it how you want. What used to take a whole day's worth of grinding and tedious hatching takes like maybe 15 minutes now if you got all the supplies prepped. It's great, I love it. But then you have these rental teams, and I remember because it only took like a week for the game to be out, one of the pro Pokemon players would drop a team, then boom, it's all you ever see for about a week straight. You might as well just have a character select screen at this point. If you can climb ranking ladders and get the prizes associated with it and all that jazz with teams you basically downloaded for free, they should just have a team builder app on the main Pokemon website or whatever they use these days. Let you be able to input what 6 mons you want, what their EV spreads will be, movesets, items, the whole shebang. Then it spits out one of those 16-digit codes and you pop it in the in-game rental teams function. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Let me clarify, I'm not saying rental teams shouldn't be in the game. They're a great tool for newer players to get into the swing of things. I just don't think they should be allowed in ranked. I always saw ranked as a measure of your skill at the entire game. Well, breeding and training is part of the game. You can be the best at prediction, but if you thought feint attack slash tail whip and tackle was the best combination of moves on a Meowth that you wanted to take into ranked, well, you probably aren't going to climb very high. And you can make the argument that just because someone can rent a pro team, it doesn't mean they can play like a pro. I get that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if you play ranked, you need to do the whole package, otherwise just have a team builder screen. The metagame has been a pretty interesting ride these past couple months. I'll stand by my earlier statement that there have been a variety of teams. I'm not having the old problem where I'm seeing the same 4 or 5 mons every team, and that's cool. I will say though, Trick Room is just as obnoxious as it was last gen. I don't like Trick Room, I think it's a stupid idea. See, Pokemon balances in this way. If you have really high attack, you're either really slow or really frail. If you can tank hits for days, you may have good attack, but you're really slow. That's a gross oversimplification, but that's the idea. Try to balance out the stats. You're not supposed to be able to do it all with one Pokemon. Well, Trick Room enables one Pokemon to do it all. Trick Room was what turned me off from Pokemon in Gen 7, well, that and the Tapus. While there has been a variety in the Mons used in Gen 8, half of these combinations all seem to be Trick Room teams. There's been a great variety in individual Pokemon scene, but not a variety in strategies is the best way I can put it. However, said strategies only seem to stick around for a week or so. This metagame has been changing at an unprecedented pace. I like it, but dislike it. It's weird. I like the variety. Variety is always great when it comes to Pokemon and similar games with hundreds and hundreds of what are essentially playable characters. On the other hand, I'll make a tweak to my team to get around something I was hard stuck against, go on a win streak, and then a couple days later, no one uses that thing anymore, and now a new thing hard counters me. I'll say this though, so you can kind of take my opinion with a grain of salt. I haven't put in as much time and effort into Pokemon as I have into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or League. I didn't even hit Master Ball tier last season. I have way more fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that is in person and there's the face-to-face community to interact with. As such, this whole metagame spiel of mine is from a very casual perspective. Funny enough, there's a couple of guys who bring their Switches to my locals, so we've been having fun with that. I could definitely see myself going for major tournaments if they're close enough. But right now, I'm feeling Yu-Gi-Oh! More than Pokemon. I do still recommend the game, and I stand by the claim that Pokemon at its laziest is still better than most of the AAA stuff I've seen. Would I pay another $60 though? Likely not. My kid is the only reason I'd buy another copy, and she'd be cashing in Christmas and a birthday. Because a cool thing about the Switch is, thanks to the multiple account profiles, you can have multiple saves of Pokemon, they just can't trade between one another. And that's the joke, isn't it? Since inception, the main Pokemon game sales strategy has been to essentially sell us 2 copies of the same game with very minor differences. At least back in the day, it was only like $30. It's made worse when, as rightly pointed out by damn near everyone, Sword and Shield have objectively less content than their predecessors. The only reason it's getting away with it is because of name brand. And I know, I'm not helping things in this regard. As I said in my Go Play video, I'd be one of those guys who buys at least 1 copy anyway. But I'm also the guy who in previous releases pre-ordered it, bought the special Pokemon 3DS, bought both copies, and whatever stupid collectible whatever was released with it. And I haven't done anything that extreme this time around. Thank God.
Did I really go on for that long? Huh. I think I just kind of started ranting and raving with the script when I was writing it. But, yeah, the key points, I think the expansions, generally speaking, are a good idea. I think it's a better idea to do expansions than just re-releasing a sequel game for full price. I don't want to see that anymore. The rental teams, I know I went on a pretty long spiel about the rental teams. And again, I want to make it clear, I'm not saying don't have rental teams. I'm just saying the idea of even having the rental teams as a mechanic in the game kind of, in my opinion, undermines ranked. It's just my thought process on it. I think you should, like, if they're just going to have rental teams, just have a team builder app or a team builder menu on the game itself. I mean, at this point, if they're not required, if you can get the ranked prizes without being required to put in the legwork as far as building a team is concerned, I mean, you might as well just do that. Just let me scroll down a list and say, I want this, that, and everything else. You know what I mean? And then, Metagame has been a wild ride. But yeah, other than that, I do recommend it still. I would probably have to lower it down to a soft recommendation, like, because it's like I said, you're objectively getting less content than the previous games for, if not double, then about double the price. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this matter. Y'all have a great day.